All right, welcome everybody to the Koochiching County Board of Commissioners regular meeting for Tuesday, January 28th, 2024. Would you please help me open with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everyone. First order of business under county business is to approve the proposed agenda with additions and or deletions. We do have one addition under county business. We placed as item 6, and that is consider approval of the airport consulting agreement. And there are no other additions and no deletions. So with that addition, I would accept a motion to approve the proposed agenda with the addition.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach.
A second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. Next up is to approve the minutes from the January 14th, 2025 regular meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. Next up, financial business. Chair would accept the motion for items A, B, and C. Approve courthouse claims, approve highway claims, and approve health and human services claims.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach.
A second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any discussion on the claims? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Next up is to ratify warrant void. It was one void in the amount of $30. The warrant amount was incorrect.
Make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre. Any discussion on the void? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Next up is to approve payment of 2025 membership dues. I can go through these quick. The ACA. I was going to know the acronyms, but I apologize. I do not remember all the acronyms for this. The ACA, the Arrowhead County Association, is $2,750. AMC General, which is an Association of Minnesota Counties, is $10,725. The AMC MAC SSA is $1,682. AMC LPHA is $1,387. AMC MACA is $771. AMC MCHR MA is $125. AMC Minnesota Rural Counties is $2,300. NACO, which is National Association of Counties, is $450. Laurentian RCMD is $400. RAMS is Range Area Municipalities and Schools is $950. And then there's the ATV Joint Powers Board, $5,400, 15% for lobbying, 2024 amount is $5,400. ATV Joint Powers Board is $3,600, 15% for administration support. And the ATV Joint Powers Board is $450 and 15% for accounting. And then there's N Club, which is $1,000. And then the Joint Counties Natural Resource Board, which is $1,000. And with that, wishes of the board.
Make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach.
A second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. Next, Human Resource Business. Brian.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Good morning.
here to notify you that we have hired Haley Tim as our new child protection social worker position. She will start Monday, March 3rd. There is no position to backfill because she's an external hire.
All right.
That's all I have.
All right, slowly. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Notice of hires do not require any motion, it's just a notice, so. All right. Next up, we have a treatment court presentation. I see Judge Shimon here and the group, and everyone's welcome to come up here. We'll grab some chairs and kind of go through.
You want me to come up back there?
Absolutely, come on up.
And is it okay if I share my screen? I'm on Zoom for the PowerPoint.
Yep. So while our coordinator Kara is getting our PowerPoint set up, just got a short PowerPoint presentation for everyone. We'll have our folks that are with us. We've got a bunch here in person, as well as I see we do have Cindy Goodall from Northland Counseling on Zoom with us too. So my name is Judge Shimon. I run the treatment court. Thanks for having us, commissioners. Been a couple years, I think, since we did a presentation. So a few new faces. But I just want to thank you for always continuing to support our program. As I tell everyone, this running a treatment court is the best part of my job, by far. So it's very important work we do. We've got Kara Jelly here. She's on the computer getting ready for the PowerPoint. She's our coordinator, treatment court coordinator. And next is Tammy Dobler. She's actually my court reporter, but she also is a member of the treatment court team. So she sits in on all our treatment court sessions. Next, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Katie Mass. I'm a treatment court graduate. Oh, and a certified peer recovery specialist at Northland Counseling.
Alyssa?
Oh, you're not skipping over me, okay?
No.
Alyssa Hackenmueller, I'm a career counselor with JET. I serve on the treatment court team.
I'm Stephen Wasco. I'm a graduate of the treatment court.
Kim Wimmer, I was a member of the treatment court team for many years. I am shadowing Judge Shimon today, so I'm lucky I get to come down and witness this. I was just recently appointed to be a judge in Itasca County.
And Jodelle Edens, I'm one of the probation agents. Agent Radio is the primary agent, and he's gone today out of training, but I'm helping out with the females that are in treatment court.
And then, like I said, we have Cindy. I don't know, Cindy, can you unmute? Maybe she's.
I can mute. My name is Cindy Goodall. I'm a licensed alcohol and drug counselor, and I'm also the treatment director at Northland. And I have the privilege of sitting on treatment court and supervising Katie Ness as our peer recovery specialist.
All right. So, got lots of other members on the team that aren't with us or are able to join us. There'll be more about that. Are we ready to go on?
He's going to be pulling stuff here.
Okay.
He just popped up.
So a little history. Treatment court, the Falls was started back in 2005 by Judge LeDuc, probation agent Troy Radio, and at that time Jim Eberspacher, who was with probation. So this year is our 20th year. We're going to have a 20-year anniversary celebration the end of July. There'll be more coming out on that, obviously, as we get closer. But with that, we can move to the next slide and start going through this. We went through our introductions. You just want to play that. This will just give you a quick little video on basically the overview of treatment court and drug courts. All right, well, we won't use the video then. So basically, what is treatment court? Alternative courts that were started basically in the late 90s, early 2000s, for the basic premise that, the United States has the highest rate of incarceration in the world. And, you know, the question that was being asked is, you know, what are we doing wrong? You know, because the recidivism rate has always nationally hovered between 60 and 80%. And so we're punishing people by putting them in prison, but it doesn't seem to be working or changing the behaviors. So that's where treatment courts came from, the idea that let's look at this in a different way. Let's not just be punitive. And it really was focused to start with on addiction and the disease of addiction, and trying to provide services, team approach, more collaborative view of working with folks that suffer from the disease of addiction that are finding themselves in the criminal justice arena, and seeing if that works better. And it has. I mean, the statistics, and some we'll show you in a minute here, bear that out. It's a team model. We've got, we can go to the next slide. Obviously, you know, our court's a treatment court, so we are focusing in on the disease of addiction. You can see that's definition from the American Society of Addiction Medicine. Important thing, you know, we want to note is this is a disease. This is a disease no different than cancer, diabetes, any chronic condition, and it's recognized medically as a disease. And that's hard, really hard for some people to wrap their head around. I mean, it just is. You know, well, you know, it's just a choice. No, it's not that simple. It's not that easy. This is a disease that affects people their entire life. And so it's a struggle. Go to the next slide. So as I was saying, it's a team approach. This represents kind of the core team. Again, there are some others on there, but the main core obviously is the court, judge, prosecutor, defense attorney, probation, huge, and again, so you heard from Ms. Edens, she's one of the probation officers. I'm not sure, but I think Cooch County, we may be the only, if not, we're certainly one of the first that have 2 probation officers to deal with our both male and female participants. Traditionally, it's usually just one probation agent that handles that caseload, and so we've asked, and you commissioners were agreeable to that as part of the ARC budget, that we were able to get Ms. Edens to help out, and that's been great. She's been with us for about a year and a half, and so I really appreciate that. Obviously, treatment, huge part of treatment court, as you would guess. So we're lucky. One of the things I can tell you since I started in this role, small community, International Falls, Cooch County, I've been amazed truly at the amount of services we do have. And I think that's important for you to know. I mean, we've got great treatment services from the addiction standpoint, both with Rainy River Recovery and now Northland running again. Cindy's here from Northland. Gus and Sue Christensen devote tons and tons of time, as I'm sure many of you know, resources to not only our treatment court, but the community in general, in helping people get back on their feet. Mental health services are a critical component, and we've got lucky enough to have two different mental health practitioners that are regularly show up every week or other week to our sessions. And then we've got a host of wraparound services. We've got Melissa Hackenmuller here from JET, who is a huge component of our treatment court to, once we get these folks stabilized and in a position where, okay, what's next? We've got resources to offer them with JET and Ms. Hackenmuller to, really explore career options, maybe further their education, and that's a really important step in our treatment court for the latter phases. We've got social services and Friends Against Abuse as well. So very robust team, and they're very dedicated, and most of those people are volunteering their time. This is our mission. Pretty self-explanatory, but obviously the end goal is, sobriety, self-sufficient, and law-abiding, and contributing to our community. It's important stuff. So treatment court's not for everyone. I mean, it's not just anybody who gets maybe a first-time DUI or maybe even a first-time drug-related charge. The research since we've been doing this work really shows that where treatment courts are most effective is when you're serving the highest risk and highest need population. So it's really been a shift, I would say, in the last 5 to 8 years moving to that. Found that sometimes treatment court for some of those lower risk or lower needs individuals may do more harm than good. So, the focus is really to get these high risk, high need individuals in the treatment courts. And so that's the target, and those are typically who we're servicing, those folks in our community that are just really, really struggling. Back before the court multiple times, either new offenses or on probation violations. Our treatment court, the Borderland Treatment Court, is a 5-phase program. I mean, if you start to finish and no hiccups along the way, no issues, I mean, you're going to graduate, if you're doing everything right, about 18 months. I'd say most individuals, there are some ups and downs, which is very normal, and we expect it. And so I would say the average time for graduation is probably closer to 22 months or 24 months. You can see the different phases on that slide. The first couple phases are acute stabilization from a treatment standpoint, from a chemical dependency, withdrawal. Phase 2, now we're looking more at clinical stuff, maybe getting the mental health component looked at, which is a very key component in my view as part of treatment court. And then we get to kind of the 3, 4, and 5 into the stability phases, and transitioning them more out in the community, a little less supervision, but that is the key in my view to the treatment court, especially in the early phases. High intensity, high supervision, high accountability with us all along the way, trying to support them. Just a slide about all the different services we do provide and promote through the treatment court itself. And then this is getting into how we're measuring, how are we really doing, right? Like I alluded to that earlier. Our treatment courts are doing a better job in this area, and this is kind of one of the main measuring tools. Typically, that is measured. Recidivism is measured basically usually on a 3-year basis, although some studies go out 5 years and even 10 years. But most of the numbers you see when if you see them or read them, they're usually looking at a 3-year recidivism rate. So here's our statistics, and these are updated currently, I believe, through 2024, as close as we could get it. These numbers you see on the screen are for treatment courts themselves. So, You can see nationally the treatment court recidivism rate is 35%. Minnesota is doing a little better than that. We have a very strong treatment court system. Almost every county in the state now does have a treatment court. 32%, and we're very proud that we're beating even the state average here in Cooch at 29%. So we're proud of that statistic. I think that speaks to the level of support that you folks bring to us, so we're able to provide the services and do the job that treatment courts are supposed to do using the best practices. The bottom corner there, you see the non-treatment court recidivism rates. We use the Minnesota Legislative Reference Library for the statistics, just so we kept it, that's where all the numbers came from. I don't know where those numbers necessarily came from, but nationally, that's the lowest number I've ever seen nationally. If you go and look, I mean, the Bureau of Justice statistics, it's over 60%. So I don't know where they pulled that number from, but that's the lowest number I've ever seen for national recidivism rate in general, non-treatment court. It's always between 60 and 80%. So we're cutting that well in half with treatment court, and that's the goal. And does it always work? Of course not. Nothing's perfect, but it's certainly better than 60-80% reoffending. Next. So here's just a couple quotes. This one's from a past graduate from 2021. And then the next one, this one came from a session was it either 2 weeks ago? Our last session. One of our current participants. And so that I think that's a good quote, because I think a lot of people when they first come into the program, I mean, that they just think, well, I just got to stay sober for 18 months and I'll be good. Well, it's not about just staying sober, right? I mean, you got to change your life. I mean, because if you don't, I mean, you might white knuckle it through 18 months, although usually not. But you might, but you're probably not going to have long-term success. I mean, you've got to change the people, places, and things for long-term success. And that's what was so cool about that participant saying that, who's now in one of the later phases, that's going off. He's seeing that, and he's showing it too. But let's not listen to quotes. Let's hear it from some real live folks who are graduates. So, Stephen, Wassel, come on up.
Up there?
Yeah.
Sit down here.
No, because they're.
Oh.
Yeah, come on, you got it. I know. You got it.
I'll be honest, I was one of those people that thought they could white knuckle it through 18 months, and I did not make that. Did not work. Hi, I'm Stephen Waskell. I have 2 years and 21 days sober, and drug court changed my life. I grew up in an addict family and have been an addict since I was 11 years old. In my family, abnormal behavior, including criminal activity, was normal. I was first arrested on August 2020 and put on probation. Even after my arrest in August, I continued to use even while on probation. I joined drug court in May of 2022 because traditional probation wasn't right for me. I needed more accountability for my actions, which drug court provided. Even though I knew I needed more accountability, it still wasn't easy, and it took a long time to make positive changes. Two major consequences of my continued use was losing my career path and struggling with my struggles within my family. My family was deeply affected by my addiction. Drug court taught me that sobriety wasn't just about being sober, that other elements like mental health and financial stability are a big factor in continued recovery. While a member of drug court, I completed my GED. I made strides in my mental health and became an active member of my sober community. This led me to make lifelong friends in recovery that I talk to almost every day. Drug court also taught me that self-advocating is not a bad thing. Through treatment court and therapy, I was able to figure out who I was, and I like who I am today. Thank you.
Steven learned real good how to self-advocate. And that's the beauty of treatment court. You know, there are times when we didn't always see eye to eye, but he...
And honestly, like, if you guys really want to know what drug court's about, attend a session. Wait 7 months, go back, and you will literally see the change in somebody from the first time they go to like that. It's such a huge difference it's making people like.
Yeah, and I forgot, I wanted to mention, I know we had Chair Schobelum and Administrator Coe attend a graduation session right before Christmas, I think it was, which was a really neat session. I'm glad they were able to attend, but you know, you're all welcome at any time. I mean, it's open court, you know. People think, well, it's closed, you know, it's treatment court. No, just like any other court, you can come in and sit down and watch and listen. So you're all invited, open invitation anytime. All right. Katie, come on up.
My name is Katie Ness, and I'm a certified peer recovery specialist at Northland Counseling. I have lived experience and understand that everyone has their own journey in recovery. Not everyone's recovery looks the same. I make myself available to walk with others as they find their path in recovery, keeping an open and non-judgmental mindset. I connect individuals with the recovery community by attending meetings or to sober activities. I am willing to assist others and present resources if needed. I wish I had someone like me early on in my recovery. But getting to this point in my life where I am able to do those things was not easy. I started using substances and alcohol at the age of 14. I had a troubled upbringing of trauma and abuse of different forms. I went through foster care, mental health issues, self-harming, and suicidal ideations. As I got older, my weekend drinking and drug use turned into everyday using. I became physically dependent on opiates when I was 21. That quickly turned into IV use. My opiate addiction turned into a cross-addiction to meth. I know now that if I continued using opiates like I would surely have been dead a long time ago. What a life I was living. Only till I got sober did I realize I wasn't living at all. In 2020, I was stuck in the most abusive relationship, unable to find a way out. That February, I ended up getting charged with first-degree sales. I will never forget that moment. Looking back, I think that it was a blessing in disguise. Because of my legal situation, for the first time, I went to inpatient treatment. It failed, but I had a taste of what it was like to be sober. I went back to the same people, places, and things and continued on with that lifestyle for a year, till I got in more legal problems and ended up back in jail, to going back to treatment. Again, I did the same thing as last time. This time, I ran until Troy Radio finally caught me. Back to jail I went. January 19th, 2022 was the last time that I used. As I sat in jail, I made the decision that I no longer wanted to live the lifestyle I spent so many years stuck in. I wanted better for myself. I wanted to be part of my family's lives and be the best parent I knew I could be. As I sat there, I knew the only two options I had. I knew I was either going to go to prison for the 5 years I had hanging over my head or to be accepted into drug court. I don't think I've ever wanted something so badly as to be accepted in the treatment court program. Almost 2 months went by. I did an assessment with Becky at Rainy River Recovery, and I did an interview with the treatment court team. I was accepted into the program. I knew then that this was my only true shot at getting my life back. I didn't know very much about the treatment court program other than what my boyfriend told me, which, by the way, he was a very vital role in me being accepted into the program and helped me be so successful. I will forever be grateful for his support and him believing in me. On March 31st, 2022, I was released from jail, and on that same day, my boyfriend was granted full sole custody of his 2 daughters, who call me Mom. My recovery journey was just beginning. I started outpatient treatment at Rainy River Recovery, where I attended group 3 days a week. While in treatment, I worked hard at understanding who I truly was as a person, what my goals were, what I wanted for my future, who I wanted in my life, and what was most important to me. I did a lot of self-discovery and dug deep into what made me do the things I do, what would emotionally trigger me and why, and how I could change myself for the better. I would meet with Troy Radio on Tuesdays. Troy would UA me and hold me accountable. I knew well enough that Troy wasn't someone to mess with. I know a lot of people think that their probation officer is out to get them, but if you're doing the right things and doing what you need to be doing, Your probation officer is a person that can be there to support you. I have a lot to be grateful for when it comes to having Troy as my probation officer. Another requirement of treatment court was to be involved in mental health services. Mental health and substance use disorder go hand in hand. Going through life in addiction comes with a lot of trauma, and I had experienced a ton of it. While seeking help for my mental health, I was able to learn to cope with my anxiety, triggers, and grief. It helped me to overcome my problems and grow into the person I am today. While you are in treatment court program, you are pushed to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, meaning you can't just sit and do nothing. Treatment court wants to see their participants succeed and do good. Treatment court makes it your goal to seek and obtain employment. With the help of Alyssa Hackenmuller, who is a career counselor through JET, she was able to help me find a job that I was comfortable enough to try out, where I wasn't overwhelmed. Alyssa is a great asset to the treatment court team. Her program offers a lot of resources and financial assistance that was very vital to me during my time in treatment court. Treatment court also supports their participants in helping them get their license back. I got mine back while I was in the program, and it opened up a lot of doors for me. Because of treatment court, I was able to become the best version of myself. I am a parent that shows up, that provides, and I'm actively doing everything I can for my children. I make the people around me proud, and they cheer me on every day. I show up for myself by continuing to achieve my goals and work every day on my recovery. I show up to my job that I hope makes a difference in the lives of those that are still struggling. My parents no longer have to worry that they're going to get that phone call that I didn't make it. My little brother has his big sister back. My boyfriend has someone he can count on. I will forever be grateful to treatment court for supporting me, pushing me to do better, believing in me even when I didn't, and giving me the opportunity to prove to myself that I am deserving of a better life. Treatment court changes lives, and I am living proof. Today, I am just over 3 years clean and sober and living my best life.
All right. And Katie, as she indicated, is doing peer recovery support specialist, is very, very much needed in our community, and we're super glad that she chose that path and is now working at Northland with Ms. Goodall, and very important service. So thanks for that as well, Katie.
Yeah, of course.
So that's our presentation. Any questions?
Just a couple comments. Congratulations to both of you, and thank you to the team, Judge Cohen, taking the time, and the rest of the team, really putting a lot of effort into it, because I know that it's a difficult path, and I'm really proud of both of you for making it through. I'm really excited that we have this team and this in place here in our community. It's super cool. A lot of cool people out there that get back into this sort of things. So I appreciate you being here, and very well said to both of you. Appreciate you coming up and telling your story, and we're glad to hear it.
Thank you.
I didn't come prepared to say anything. I wasn't aware that this was taking place. However, as an employer, I can attest to the success of this program. You guys know how hard it is to find employees these days, and people that are accountable and show up to work and grow in their employment. I was looking for some help at Rainy Lake Houseboats, and we had one employee on the staff that was going through the program, and he brought out a buddy from drug court for an interview. At first, I was kind of taken back a little bit. I didn't know what to think, and as I was talking to him, he seemed like a good guy. He laid out and was right up front with all the trouble that he got in. And as I was talking to him, ironically, it was just fate that Troy Radio showed up to UA, the other guy that was there. And Troy said to me, are you thinking about hiring this guy? And I said, yeah, I am. He said, it'd be the best thing you ever did for you and him. And it has been.
He's still employed with you too.
Absolutely, yeah. He's my main guy.
Yeah.
I can leave and feel comfortable. And I was never able to do that before. It's that good here, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Mr. Gordy. And yeah, who he's referencing actually was with us, I think, 2 years ago when we did a similar presentation. He was one of our graduates that spoke. Any other questions, commissioners?
Thanks for all your hard work.
Keep up the great work.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you for all your support of the program. We appreciate it because we couldn't do it without you. So thank you. We'll let you get back to your meeting.
You guys have a great day.
All right, thank you for having us.
Great presentation. I really appreciate their taking the time to do that. So thanks for setting it up. Getting back into the agenda for this morning. Next up will be item 6 under county business, will be to consider approval of the airport consulting agreement. Don't believe there's much changes. Adam wants to go over it for just a quick brief. Within the contract there, we're kind of missing a signature line that we want to maybe get cleared up. Other than that, signature line being to include the city of National Falls as a joint entity in this agreement. And you said it has went through the county attorney?
Yeah, I guess just to back up a little bit, the city and county have created a airport steering committee maybe 6 months ago or so, and have been meeting just on how to move forward and how to efficiently run the airport and future success of the airport. And so I know you guys know we went out for RFP for airport consultants to kind of review the airport operations and provide suggestions related to that. And so we had 2 proposals come in. We received and listened to presentations on 2 of those proposals, or both of those proposals. And the steering committee unanimously recommended Bolton Bank, their airport consulting team, who actually is subcontracting with another consultant to bring in on their team, who's done work in the Minnesota area, northern Minnesota. I think they'll live in Duluth. He's done consulting work for. So before you in your packet is their proposal as well as the contract. And it is just their stock contract. So yes, County Attorney McGlaskley has reviewed it. He is generally okay with the terms of the contract. However, we just need to have the contract reflect both the city and the county in the signature line for both city and county representatives. The city's agreed to pay half of the costs. We believe they plan to bring this to their next city council meeting for consideration as well. So this will be, I guess, contingent on them approving it as well, or we could bring it back if.
Yeah, I believe
something's changed.
I don't know. I think next week that's going to be up for consideration to their group, I believe, right? Next Monday, is it?
I believe that's their next city council meeting.
Okay. So yeah, if it's kind of a joint venture, so I think where there's been funding allocated and designated through the 2025 budget for this, I think it's a not to exceed amount, and we're below that with this year. So as long as they go along for the continuation of this year, we can move forward, and it can be made in a motion contingent upon the city's agreement moving forward too. So if you want to, whoever decides to or makes the motion could consider that.
I'll make the motion contingent on the city participating in half the cost.
A motion made, Commissioner McIntyre, with the contingency of city participation and the shared cost.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Hill. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. Public Health and Human Services.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I have a big list today.
I see that.
Yeah, it's a long one. It's a bunch of contracts renewals. So
So we'll start off, and you want to do these separately together? I think we should do them individually.
I think we should do them individually,
Okay.
yeah.
We'll just fire up with the donation, if you want to go through that.
Yeah, this was a pretty amazing thing. It was a donation to public health. Our public health department set up a emergency preparedness training for the schools. It was crisis management for school-based incidents, and they had a lot of participation from the schools, law enforcement, public health and human services. And Super One actually donated 2 cases of water, 2 cases of juice, 2 fruit platters, and 8 dozen bakery items for this training. It was a 2-day training. We just want to acknowledge their contribution to that. It was a pretty generous thing that they did for that training, so everybody had food and refreshments when they were there. So.
Yes, thank you to them, and we an acknowledgement has been sent a thank you, it looks like.
Yep.
The first statute, we have to accept the donation, so I would accept the motion to accept the donation to public health from Super One for the refreshments for the emergency preparedness training.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Thank you, Commissioner Howell. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And again, thank them for participating. Right, and then you have some renewals and purchase of service agreements.
Yep. Did you want me just to go down the line with them, or?
I think so. We will do them individually, and whatever
Yep.
would flow best here for
Okay.
you. So if you want to explain them as we go, and we can kind of do one at a time after that, that's
Okay.
fine too. So.
Okay. Well, the first one there is the renewal of the 2025 Children's Mental Health Screening Grant. This is a grant we get from the Department of Human Services. Helps us cover the cost of, as it kind of says, children's mental health screening and services. We contract with Northland for a lot of that stuff. So we do some in-house, and we contract some with Northland Counseling as well. So this is the grant that helps us cover those costs.
Great. And
The next one is the 2025-2020 to 2027 Children's Mental Health Respite Screening Grant. This is a grant that helps us cover respite services for children with severe emotional disturbance, SED, if you guys ever see that, for respite services for them and the parents. So if there is it helps us avoid out-of-home placements and things like that, so they can get respite with foster care home or a relative. There's the costs associated with that are covered through this grant.
We want to pause and motion on each one.
yeah, we can do either now or come back to them and go through each one individually, whatever you like.
I think we should do one at a time and then
Okay.
close it out before we move on.
Okay, sounds good.
So the first one was the screening, children mental health screening grant.
Yes.
Renewal.
All right.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre.
Support.
Thank you, Commissioner Howell. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Next up would be the renewal of the 2025-2027 Children's Mental Respite Screening Grant. And we went through that very well. So I accept the motion to renew that.
Make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Hell.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach, this time. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Great, and next would be request approval of renewal for Northland Counseling Children's Mental Health Service.
Yep. This kind of goes hand in hand with that Children's Mental Health Grant. They provide children's mental health targeted case management services for us. We do some in-house. We contract the rest with them. And this is just continuing that contract that we will be working with them through for providing these services. So they provide children's therapeutic services and supports. That's something that we don't do with the county level. And supervision and consultation for those services.
And the grant takes care of some of that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. Great.
Make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Howell.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. you. Next, number 5.
That is a request approval of the renewal of Northland Counseling Clubhouse Purchase of Service Agreement. This is the Hardwick House. This is what we contract them to operate this clubhouse. We get adult mental health funds from the state to create this contract and work with them to have this clubhouse. It's one of the statutorily required things that we have, and Northland does a great job with operating the Hardwick House. I don't know if you guys have ever been there or anything, but they do a lot of great stuff there.
Yeah, I've been there.
May I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach.
Support.
Thank you, Commissioner Hell. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. And item 6.
Item 6 is request approval of renewal of Northland Counseling Mental Health Purchase of Service Agreement. This is for a lot of our adult mental health services that we contract with them. They help us with, I'm drawing a blank on the actual name of it. I'm drawing a blank, I'm sorry, but it's CSP, CSP services I'm drawing a blank on the acronym. I apologize. Consumer support program? Community support program. That's what I was thinking. Sorry about that, guys. They provide a lot of services with that. Also, they do some jail consultations through this purchase of service agreement. This is where we do our clinical supervision for our adult mental health case managers. Used to do pre-petition screenings for us through these funds. Also, it supports groups through the different things at the Hardwick House and other groups that they do. It's just it's a very open kind of contract, and that is something that I'm working with Northland on this year. We're looking at that and getting it spelled out and figuring out exactly what we want done with this grant. It's just kind of been the same for a long time, and everybody that was in place when this got put in place is not there anymore. We both at Northland and at the county, and just get a little more detail hammered out with this one. So that's the goal for this year in 2025, so we have a lot more detail with it in 2026.
And the grant amount is a couple $100,000, it looks like?
Yep, 205, I believe.
Right.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Hell.
I'll support.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. Number 7.
Right. This is the request approval of renewal of ODC supported employment services, and that's kind of how it sounds. They're certified by the Rehabilitation Services Branch of the Minnesota Department of Jobs and Training to provide employment and training services to people. And this is for our developmentally delayed and mental health clients that we work with. So it's basically to support extended employment for these folks, as well as transportation to their employment.
Great.
Make the motion.
Motion. Thank you, Commissioner Hell.
I'll give you support.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. And number 8.
All right, this is request approval of the renewal of ODC Day Support Services Purchase Service Agreement. This is for our developmentally delayed individuals. They provide developmental achievement support services for participants and transportation for participants. This is just to, it's day support services for our clients so they can obtain employment, become more self-sufficient.
I'll get a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you,
Support.
Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner Hell. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. And item 9?
Number 9 is request approval of renewal of AEOA congregate meals purchase of service. This is the congregate meals that are done at the senior center and then the Meals on Wheels. It's a contract we have with them for that in our countywide. They are actually doing an additional item that they started doing in 2024. They're delivering some frozen ones as well, so people can last through the weekend and things like that, further out into the community, into the county, which is a great thing, because we're on one of those congregate sites, so it's difficult to staff those.
So that's a good idea, good program too.
Yeah.
Gets food out to folks.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Look for a motion.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Howell.
Give support.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. And item 10.
All right, that is request approval of the renewal of the AEOA volunteer driver purchase of service agreement. This is for volunteer driver program for our medical assistants and social service clients. We have to have a contract in place, even if the health plans and things like that are covering the cost of the transportation. We have to have a contract in place with the company to transport our clients. So, for medical appointments, and then as well as different things that are, if they're working with social services on something, giving a transportation to treatment somewhere or things like that.
Makes good sense.
Home visits for children, things like that.
Okay.
Make a motion.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Howell.
Give support.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. And 11.
11 is request approval of the renewal of the AEOA Employment and Training Purchase and Service Agreement. So these are employment and training requirements through the MFIP program, which is the Minnesota Family Investment Program, and the Divisionary Work Program. We contract with AEOA to provide these services that are required to qualify for other for folks to qualify for the MFIP program, the Divisionary Work Program. They have to be working with a agency like AEOA for employment and training services.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach.
Support.
Thank you, Commissioner Howell. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. And item 12.
All right, this is request approval of renewal of the Lutheran Social Services Guardianship Purchase of Service Agreement. These are for our clients that are developmentally delayed, mentally ill, vulnerable due to frailty of aging, dementia, things like that, that don't have anybody that can be a guardian. They don't have a child or a other family member that can be a guardian, and they're working with us. A lot of these are ones that come through adult protection reports and things like that. And the county can file emergency guardianship, but we can only be emergency guardian for, I think it's 90 days. And then it has to transfer to another entity, and this contract is with Lutheran Social Services to be that entity for us. This is one thing that I've been reaching out to other agencies as well that do guardianship services, because I know, like everywhere, places have been struggling with staffing. And I know Lutheran Social Services had that issue before. They're doing really good right now, but we've seen it do this. So I'd like to get, most other counties have more than one contract for guardianship services in place, where if this company can't take it, this other one can, and I'm working on that right now.
Good idea.
To get another one in place, because it's a vitally important thing, because if we can only be the emergency guardian for that set amount of time according to statutes.
More to come on this, perhaps.
Yep. There may be another contract coming down the line if I can find a place that will work with us way up here. So.
All right. Sounds good.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Howell.
Support.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. And 13.
All right, 13 is the request approval of the renewal of the NemoJet Northeast Minnesota Office of Job Training Purchase of Service Agreement. This is a similar one to the one we just did for AEOA for the Employment and Training Services to qualify for the MFIP and DWP programs. We contract with both of them to do that because of the funding that we get through the state. It kind of filters through us to them to provide these services.
So if you do one, you gotta do the other.
Yep.
Right?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach.
Support.
Thank you, Commissioner Howell. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. 14, couple more to go.
We're getting there. All right, this is a request approval of the renewal of the Friends Against Abuse Purchase Service Agreement. This is for supervised visitation that we use for children that are in out-of-home placement if they're trying to reestablish that relationship with parents. It is done in a safe environment through supervised visitations through Friends Against Abuse.
Right. Get a motion, please.
Make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Howell.
Support.
Thank you, Commissioner Rowe. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Right. Next up, number 15.
Yep. This is request approval of renewal of first call for help purchase of service agreement. This is our contract for the use of the first call for help services. It's the confidential crisis line. This is the 211 number that, and then they send it off to the crisis response teams wherever it would, the appropriate one.
All right. Thank you.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach.
Support.
Thank you, Commissioner Howell. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. And next up is River Burial. Yes.
Yep, this was a burial for one of our residents that they met the Koochiching County burial policy guidelines for it, the amount of $1,650.
Chair to accept the motion to accept burial. Approve burial.
I'll make the motion. Support.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Thank you, Commissioner Howell. Discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Well, thank you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
That was a bit of a marathon, but...
A little bit? Well, thank you for going through all that. Looks like a lot of work.
John, you're up.
Actually, I'll take that one. It might not fit in this one.
Too many things hanging on your side.
All right. So, looking at the squad truck, got the state bid, and I did get one bid from Falls Chrysler. The state bid is a little bit lower, but they did not. That doesn't include a the brush guard, which we always get anyhow. And the Falls Chrysler did include that in their price, which makes them $300 lower than the state bid. So I'd like to purchase that truck from Falls Chrysler.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Sounds good.
So why didn't state bid offer the grill guard on the front?
It's just, I couldn't
Did
find
they
the
miss it,
option.
or?
No, I just couldn't find the option.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was doing the build sheet. They actually send me a base sheet, and we can add whatever we want to it, so. Yeah. It's typically something we had Guardian do at the upfitter.
Okay.
But they included their price, so. And actually, I believe it was about $300 cheaper than the one we were getting from Guardian anyhow, so.
Nice.
Wow.
So,
Well, we
worked
glad to
out.
do.
Good to be able to buy it locally.
Yeah, for sure.
John, what was the bid price for Falls Chrysler? So I can put it in?
Falls Chrysler total will be $45,083.
The 2025?
Correct.
And you guys, do you outfit it when you get it, or does it go somewhere else to get outfitted?
We'll get it from Falls Chrysler, and then we'll send it to Guardian for the upfit.
And they'll put the guards and all the
Yep.
stuff on it? Okay.
Yep, they'll do it. This will be a fresh build, so it'll be everything brand new in there.
And you're gonna get it fairly soon? Because a few years ago, it was taking like a year or two to even get them.
It's gotten better. I can't remember if they put on here an anticipated time or not, but that has gotten better.
Okay.
A lot better.
Good.
Yeah, a couple, 3 months or something, probably.
Yeah, probably. And isn't even our biggest. The biggest challenge is the upfitter right now. There's about 3-4 companies that do it, and they have been so inundated with business, which is good for them. But like these last trucks that we finally got on the road, we had 5. I mean, there was a couple of them, we owned them for 9 or 10 months before we could even get them on the road. But it is what it is. Less companies, I guess, are doing it. We feel that Guardian does a really good job. They come and get the vehicle and basically bring it back ready to go. And their work is very clean. It's the guys have been happy with it. So.
Color?
Black again. So
Perfect.
the 2 white ones, we didn't have a choice, but
The white ones, it's freaking people out.
Yeah.
I know.
Sure. Well, we get a lot better resale value with black or white.
What's that?
The resale value is a lot better black or white compared to brown.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
good
the
choice.
problem was back when I first came in here, we kept getting brown, but they changed the color. They called it the same brown every year, but it was not the same brown. And the parent is very, wants stuff to look the same and orderly, and finally he just said black. That's all we're going with. Because black is black. So, yeah.
Great. Any further question, discussion?
No?
We have a first and a second. If there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And motion carries.
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks. Have a good day.
Commissioner Roach and Commissioner Hill.
Whatever.
I think it was him.
Was it him? Oh, excuse me. Commissioner McIntyre. Yeah, I have it right.
Have a good day. Is that a Dodge?
Yes.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Great. Hey, Matt.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
MPCA has
This is the
Stuff
smallest
for us.
package of paper you have
Yeah.
ever given us.
You know, I've been
You feel
trying
okay.
to listen to what you guys have to say and, provide you as limited as possible, but still provide you what you need, so.
This is kind of an annual draft?
Yeah, so this is a subsurface sewage treatment systems grant provided by the MPCA to help us administer our SSTS programs. Minnesota rules require us to administer those, our ordinance and the rules related to that. And the grant is there to help offset the costs associated with it. We far exceed the costs, or the grant amounts in our time that we spend with every one of our permits and every one of the people that we talk to, and working through various other things related to sewer, Winters National Park, Power Board, and other things that we work on to try to solve sewer issues throughout the county. So this grant is related to it, and it's required to enter into the grant agreement or to receive the money, so I would recommend moving forward because we need the money.
I'll make that motion.
All right. Motion made by Commissioner Hill.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Roach. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Okay.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up is public comment. Do we have anybody here for public comment?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners.
Morning.
if I may, Tom Doherty, Voyager Country ATV. And this has rather come up relatively fast. Yesterday, and make a long story short, first off, I'll just give you a brief update on some of the stuff that's been going on with the club. We did receive a national award from Novak as the top club in the nation. It was in August, I believe, which was quite an honor for the club to receive that award for all the work they've been doing. Unfortunately, not a lot of it has taken place in Koochiching County yet, but it's all in the works. Just I'll give you a little update on some of the progress. So our EAW is in its final stages, which I'm sure Nathan has looked at that. It's got just a short ways to go, and then that'll be completed. We're hoping to start construction from the Gamma Road to County Road 3, which will bring us into Ray. And today I'm here to talk to you about a grant that we'd like to apply for to get us from Ray up to Ericsburg, which actually brings us over to Rogers Corner. So that's like the second phase. The first phase would be from the Gamma Road, which is a portion of that is in St. Louis County. It's about 50-50, and then the rest of that is in Koochiching. So in talking about this grant at the Joint Powers Board and with our engineering firm, SEH, we realized that it's kind of a unique situation because we're in Koochiching County and on how to administer the funds. So in order to apply for this grant, we need a fiscal agent for the application, and the county is already serving as our fiscal agent for the reimbursements that we get from the Blue Ox Trail. In fact, one just came in recently for some material that we purchased on the Blue Ox. So that's why I'm here today. We have an opportunity to submit a preliminary application on February 7th. The complete application is due on February 28th. And on the back page there, what I gave Ricky, Commissioner Roach, is a sample resolution which this FRTP grant requires. So to apply for the grant, SEH will help us write it. It goes through the DNR, and then the DNR submits it to the FRTP. It's a $200,000 grant that we're seeking. We'll be looking for matching funds from the dedicated account. That's something that we've actively been participating in each year. In fact, that's how a portion of the Gamma Road to County Road 3 is funded. We will receive this summer $340,000 from the dedicated account, which comes from our license fees. And we're anticipating the rest of that is going to come from the IRRB for the portion that's in St. Louis County. And that's the disadvantage that we have up here, is the IRRB funds can't be spent in Koochiching County. So we have a little tougher task. So we have to, as I've always said before, beg, borrow, cheat, and steal to find the money. And we always seem to come up with it. So
to start out, you're just kind of looking for a fiscal agent to go after this grant, and then would someone be able to bring that back? Would that have to be approved, the grant approved before it's sent, or would it be then, or you would want to include that in this motion to consider it for consideration, or would we want to look at the grant application before it goes? I guess would be the question. I'm not sure how that would be.
I know Nathan's much more in tune with this than I am. I mean, historically, yeah, we want to see an application completed before we approve anything, so we can understand it and review it. And I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any of the paperwork yet, so I can't speak to the terms or the match or who's responsible for what. I know Tom probably knows a lot of that, but do you need a resolution to just complete the application? before, I mean, you can go ahead and complete it, right, and submit it for review without a resolution?
I don't know if we can submit it for the review. The review is optional. However, if you don't cross a T or dot an I, you're going to find out at that point. I was originally told that we had until the 16th of February, but found out further, other information that the preliminary is due the 7th. Perhaps you could submit it to them on the 7th with it pending the next county board meeting.
Yeah, I would think if that's allowable, that you'd like to go out that route, we can give us a couple weeks to look over the terms and the application.
One thing that you may want to consider is I think we're going to see this again down the road. I know that I was president of the Snowmobile Club many years ago, and you were the fiscal agent for the Snowmobile Club and still are. And as an ongoing, as we apply for different things if needed, if we have something in place where the county continues to be the fiscal agent, so we don't have to, take up the time to come to you each time. We would, work with you and show you the material, however, not have to make a motion each time or a resolution.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, I think we have that with other groups and stuff here. We act as a fiscal agent. They kind of take care of all the legwork. They go after the grants. When these grants come in, then I think it just gets handled the way. So I think that's an avenue to look into. I think we do that with the Polar Folders and the Snowmobile Club and things like that already. So maybe that's something that we could work on getting that, some type of a fiscal agent agreement for whatever the legal name is for this club, and then just kind of head in that direction, then just kind of carte blanche, whatever you want to go after, whatever. Obviously, if there's cost shares, that would have to be brought up back to wherever, if there's something that we'd be involved in, I guess, for that. But I think that's the way it is for these other entities. They kind of hunt.
We have a standing fiscal agent agreement with several places, but they still bring each individual grant to the board because, obviously it may affect different parts of the county. You might want to weigh in on how it's written, but yes, then the terms of those grants is then handled by that committee or that other group. We just do pass through of the funds as they expend them or as they come in.
You have a timeline on this one, though, right?
Yes. What would the next opportunity to bring it before the board, what would that be?
The 11th.
The 11th?
Yeah.
I think that would work, having, that it's pending. The engineering firm didn't seem overly concerned about the 7th. They've submitted these grants before. In fact, I looked at a copy of one that they did submit, and they didn't see overly concerned with that date. And if it said pending on there, pending approval at next board meeting, would probably be sufficient.
Anything to add, Nathan? Anything?
Yeah, no, obviously there's a tight timeline on this and lots of details to be figured out, but I think Mr. Doherty's right. If we can if the club and SEH can put together that draft application and send it into the DNR for draft review, I would assume the DNR would look at that without that resolution and then come back on the 11th and the board can consider it. The one thing looking through these, I've never been involved with one of these RTP grants, but assuming they were to be successful on it, the costs have to be incurred and paid out before a reimbursement can be claimed. So the county would be, shelling that money out ahead of time.
Fronting it,
essentially.
How much was that again? 200?
200. And would you need that material a few days before the meeting to get it in the packets, or?
Yeah, a week before.
A week before?
Yeah, we put the Thursday before, but we send out the agenda and all the materials the Thursday before the meeting, so whatever date that is.
Just give it a little time to get reviewed, too, if it's
a
couple of days anyway.
As soon as you can get it to them, if you submit the application on the 7th or by the 7th, you can submit all your materials, the same materials to me, then I can have it reviewed and included in the packet for consideration on the 11th.
Okay.
Tom, is the idea to use this grant too for a lot of the future trail design through that segment and to kind of get the ball rolling on it?
Yeah, it's about a 4-mile segment is what it does is it gets us up to 119, the access road.
And the amount of money that the ATVs actually bring into a community is outrageous. The amount of people that actually ride, and if we can get this trail to get to International Falls through all of our grants, International Falls will be better.
$31 million was identified as the benefit
last year.
3-county area.
Wow.
And that didn't count the $10 million in construction of the trail system, which, you know, is significant as well.
Which 3 counties? Cooch, St. Louis?
Pardon me?
Which 3 counties? Cooch, St. Louis,
and Lake. Yeah, and I actively participate at those. I try to attend as many as I can, the Joint Powers Board meetings, which, you know, thank you for having Commissioner Roach participate in that. That's getting national recognition as well. At the meeting yesterday, there was 31 people for the second meeting after the first part adjourned, which was an eye-opener. So everybody's coming on board, participating in that Joint Powers effort. And that's how we leverage our, so when we go to get the, for instance, the bonding money, which we have $1 million, that was rejacketed from last year for the Blue Ox, we bring that to the, you know, it's a confusing process, but it works. So we bring that to the Joint Powers Board, and then we take that to the Legislative Summit, which is held usually a month before the legislative session convenes. And that's not very well attended, so it's a great opportunity for clubs like us to go there and get funding. So we bring in our proposals that are put together with SEH and the club members, and then they are prioritized and accepted by ATV Minnesota, and then they're handed off to the lobbyists as to which projects we want the most attention, you know, focused on to get the funding. So, and all of those are accepted from the Joint Powers Board as kind of like one package when we do that effort. This is different from that because it's a grant, but it's a great thing, the Joint Powers Board. Absolutely, we're going to get this. You know, I was thinking it's going to take forever, but yesterday I came out with a little bit more hip hop in my step, so to speak. Seeing, you know, we laid the map out, and here we are. We're going to get to Rogers Corner, and then once we get to Rogers Corner, there's a abandoned railroad grade, is my understanding, that hooks up to the Blue Ox. And these old railroad grades are easier to put trails in place because they've been there, so it's not as challenging, right? And so it's enlightening.
Then we can hook up the Blue Ox and they'll take us all the way to Bemidji.
Correct.
So people will be able to make the big loop. They can start over in Lake County, go through St. Louis, through Cooch, down through Itasca, and all the way back up again. If a person has time, you could go about anywhere you want on a side-by-side or four-wheeler. Major thing is getting our connection in Cooch County.
Well, thanks for all your work on this here too. Well, I think maybe we can work on that fiscal agreement too, maybe. I don't know if we have time to do that ahead of time to get it to the 11th. Maybe approve that first and then maybe have this post-approval of the grant after that. Maybe we can, if there's time to do that, maybe we'll try to do that. But yeah, just move forward with it, and we'll look at it on the 11th. And thank you too. That's a big deal. I read about it too. It's awesome. It's a good
Thank
deal.
you.
Yeah, thanks, Tom.
Thanks to Nate over here too, guys, because he's a big shot for us going through that there and helping us out at the Joint Powers every meeting.
Yes. I was on the Highbull Trail, and how did that get the name?
Not me.
Not you. A little more attention than you.
I was on it. I went on it on Sunday, and I tell you what, that is an awesome trail. First time I've been on it.
Yeah, I've been on it 3 times. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah.
It's 19 miles from my house.
Yeah, really well done.
I don't know how I got 82 miles on my machine the other night than on Sunday, but I must have made a little bit of a roundabout loop to get there.
Crane Lake.
Right.
River.
Any other public comments, in person or online? Anyone? Okay. And we'll close public comments. Next up, committee updates. Anybody have any updates they'd like to share?
Sure, the CVB has a new director, Katrina Highbull, and she continued to invest in, or we're continuing to invest in tourism for Koochiching County. And Kita has had a good season, part of a season with cold weather testing, and are still working with Felix for the warehouse distribution center.
Good. Anyone else?
Tom Doherty just gave my spiel for me.
Your spiel? All right. Commissioner?
Joint Counties Natural Resource Board in Bemidji yesterday, and they were lamenting the fact that not enough snow apparently down there, so I invited them up to Koochiching and Lake of the Woods because the trails are groomed up here, which they are.
Yep.
And so I don't know if that'll happen, but presentation there on buffer law, and maybe if we have an ordinance on our buffer laws in Koochiching, it needs to be updated because they've raised the fines for non-compliance. And Bowser was there, and he said, you need to update your ordinances, and I don't know if we have one or not, but I assume that we probably have a buffer ordinance.
We do have a buffer ordinance,
but
we haven't done anything with it as far as updating it since it was established.
Yeah, I'm not real sure. I mean, how harsh that would be, or how quickly they would get on that. Buffer is a much more in-front thing in the western counties there with the ditches and whatnot.
We have a very high percentage of compliance in our county,
right?
Just because of the nature of our land. But we can take a look at it for sure.
Right. Some general discussion from DNR on school trust fund money, things like that, and next meeting there will be an elk update, I guess, apparently on the reintroduction of elk into Fond du Lac from over west there. The other one I was at was our Tri-County ambulance meeting in Black Duck, and they secured a grant for $246,857 to update their ambulance, I guess, and we don't have that down here exactly when that'll happen, but because they increased their levy. Being part of that board, we increased that levy, so I'm thinking there should be some money there going forward. That was before they had been notified that this grant was awarded. So then that services, of course, the southern part of our county, North Holman up to Gamble or someplace. I'm not sure where. But I asked for the number of calls per county, but I haven't got that yet. So, and not that it matters. I mean, it's an important service for
It's
them.
about 1,800. If I remember right.
1,800 calls.
I think so.
Total.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I asked for a breakdown per county, how many in Beltrami,
Oh, my
because they
gosh.
service Beltrami, Itasca, Cooch.
Pretty good area.
Yeah, mostly Beltrami probably, but north part of Itasca and whatnot. But that seems like at least my impression so far is this is a pretty well run outfit and a pretty aggressive, pretty on the ball director, if you want to call her that. And their fiscal, their guy, their CPA is a resident of Koochiching County, North Holman, so that's it's an important service.
Yeah. Did they get funding when everybody else got funding?
I would assume, yeah. I would
So
assume.
they got another grant too on top of it. That's good.
I'm not sure how that was the
Yeah,
same grant or another grant.
I'm not sure exactly, but it's just the way things work. You walk out of that meeting as the ambulance going past on the road.
Right.
Right, thank you, Commissioner. Anything to add, Commissioner?
Nope.
Well, I'll mention, many of you heard probably already, we have a February 30th Law Enforcement Center discussion, space discussion for the city PD. We'll be meeting at, I think, is it, I can't remember if it's 9 or 10 o'clock on the 3rd?
It's 9, I think.
9 o'clock on the 3rd, so we're going to make that meeting available online and in person, so if anybody wants to attend, you'll be able to attend online. We'll broadcast it online, and then we'll also obviously be an open meeting, so and keep it open to the public and try to keep everybody abreast of what's going on. So we do have a list of needs, I believe, that Adam received here, and we'll probably try to go over that a little bit here prior to that meeting, and then just have some open discussion. Yeah, the only other thing here, we got our space committee, obviously that's part of all that, so I won't really say anything about space committee because a lot of this is going to hinge on some of those discussions that we're going to have with and for the city PD. So, but that's kind of ongoing with all the construction and things that are going on here. There'll be some movement and some changes over time. Obviously, it's going to take time to do all of this, but hopefully we'll see those changes happen over the next few years and kind of keep the ball rolling a little bit if we can. So. Legislatively, everybody knows what's going on there. I won't repeat that. Sounds like it's a one-party system right down there right now, and it sounds like it's going to be that way for a while. So there's really not a lot of movement. I did speak to a representative here a couple of weeks ago, and he answered the phone. I told him to get to work, and he said, "I love to get to. I'm at work." He said. So,
he said the same thing to me.
It was kind of funny, and I was just joking with him, or whatever. So. But he was getting ready, and they've been having their caucus meetings and their internal meetings and things like that. And now it sounds like that doesn't, and I won't reiterate it so I don't misspeak, but it sounds like that's not. They're able to do that anyway. So, but yeah, we do have a legislative conference coming up here towards the end of February. Commissioners, I think the last day to register for the hotel is tomorrow. I think it's the 29th, I believe, or 28th or 29th to register for the hotel to go to the MC legislative conference. So think about that before the end of tomorrow. So, and that's where you can travel to the Capitol, talk to legislators, etc., things like that. So, anyway, that's all I've got. Anything else? Anybody? All right.
February 3rd meeting is the whole board?
No.
We had this in the Adam Administrator Commissioner McIntyre, myself, and Baron, I believe. No, not Baron. Excuse me.
Just the three of us.
Just the three of us.
And then
Okay.
it's
Okay.
Administrator Bergstrom, Mayor Dale, and Chief Koochiching from their side as well.
I mean, obviously can participate, listen in too. I mean, that's you just can't participate in the meeting necessarily. So.
Well, we can listen.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah. So we'll look forward to that and get through that. Anybody have anything else? All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We're going to accept a motion to close the meeting for labor negotiations per Minnesota Statute 13D.02. I would accept a motion to close the meeting at this time. Thanks, everyone, for attending.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Thank you, Commissioner Hill. All those in favor of closing the meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And we are closed.